Republican primary candidate Tracy Jordan for Georgia State Insurance Commissioner. Ms. Jordan, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I hope you and all of
we are. Let's just start right in. You're currently a city council member, is that correct?
I was a city council member for the city of Houston until March. I had to step down and when qualifying for this position statewide.
Okay, so you're no longer a city council member. You stepped down to run for this office.
That is correct.
Okay, now go ahead. Go ahead.
I will say I am still a pharmacist and a pharmacy owner and active in my community, even though I can no longer be a city council member.
Okay, so let's go right into why city council member all the way to the office of the insurance commissioner for the state of Georgia. Why are you seeking out this office? And just tell us.
I am seeking this office because about 10 years ago, my community encouraged me to take my passion and determination to assist others that were having issues with insurance problems to go forth across the state and represent everyone, not just those in my community. I have been encouraged to do so, and with my skill set as a pharmacist, a business owner, a realtor, and a city council person, I have a skill set that will be necessary for negotiations to find solutions that work best for everyone, not just the special interest groups.
Now, Saturday, I asked you directly Saturday if you had read the audit, and you said yes. And this is my word is okay. I read the audit. That was a nice, boring read. Anyhow, those are my words. I read the audit, 23 pages or whatever, and but I am shocked after I started doing the research on this office in the state of Georgia. I am shocked by what I find in the audit. I am shocked in what I'm finding that we furloughed some of the employees, that we've had to lay off employees. This office is kind of shocking to me, the situation that it's in right now. How about you? What did you see?
I believe that we need to look over this office with a fine-tooth comb and a microscope and come up with some solutions. There are budget issues. I never believed that we need to solve a budgetary shortfall that was supposedly because of bad information by furloughing and laying off employees to solve the problems of overspending. That is simply not the answer.
Well, let me say this. Let me ask you this. Do you believe, and I'm going to say I'm pretty sure that the Public Service Commission, if you're running for Public Service Commission, you're not allowed to take money from special interest groups or people that you regulate. If elected, do you think it would be important to maybe change that also to the insurance commissioner's office, that you could not take campaign finance money from people you regulate?
It is my opinion that if you are taking money from special interest groups over the citizens of Georgia, that tends to get your best attention whenever there is a situation that would require mediation. We want to have a level and fair playing field, and I believe it's a conflict of interest somewhat if you're having large maxed out donations from these companies that you will be regulating. We need fairness and openness in decision makings, and unfortunately too many times if you look at the means, the motive, and the money, you find out where the problems originated.
You know, one of the articles, you find out where the problems originated. One of the articles I read concerning the audit is that the current commissioner, Ralph Hudgens, did not send his legislative liaison before session at any time to ask for more money for his office in the budget, and just took it upon himself to increase wages and move money around from one department to another. What say you? What would be the top legislative things that you would send your liaison down to the Capitol and say that you would like to have this, or what laws changed or looked at in legislation for this office?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I don't believe that the legislature should have to prop us up when we have budgetary shortfalls. We need to be able to streamline the office, work within our budget, squeeze 99 cents out of every dollar, and be as productive as possible. I would certainly encourage conversations and negotiations if expansion is causing a budgetary shortfall. And I mean expansion of necessary services, not due to raises or hiring expansions that may not be needed. We need to look at that closely. And since I am not inside the office, it's difficult for me to make a blanket statement of what I would do. But I am a business person that knows how to surround myself with experts that can give me good information. And we would look at that and determine the best policy and the best way to proceed forward.
What some people and myself we get confused. We just hear insurance commissioner. Does the insurance commissioner have the ability to regulate rates? I don't like the word regulate, but approve or disapprove insurance rates, whether it's homeowners, whether it's healthcare, whether it's car insurance, and what limitations does the insurance commissioner have in rates for the customers in Georgia?
That is one of the first issues on my platform, is that I would petition the legislature to remove the 2008 legislation that has allowed insurance companies to file their rates and use them immediately, resulting in the escalating automobile insurance premiums. We need to have that authority back in the office of the insurance commissioner, as it was prior to 2008, so that the people across the state of Georgia can be protected from any rate increases. At this point, there could be some things done, but our current commissioner has not stood up to the companies as strongly as I believe we should. We need that authority back in the insurance commissioner's office so that any rate increases are finally reviewed before passed along to the consumers. And as I said many times in public, I don't believe an insurance company has ever had to have legislative approval to lower rates for consumers.
Have you taken any money in your campaign from special interest, lobbyists, or political action committees?
No, sir, I have not. My contributions have come from the average person across the state of Georgia. Now, I do have friends that are agents and brokers that are supporting me in my mission because they're frustrated in their position. They want to have better representation across the board. They, too, are consumers, and they feel like their hands have been tied many times when they try to look after their clients. So they support me in my mission to become the next Insurance and Fire Safety Commissioner.
So you do have, I mean, I have them all up here because I'm going to talk about them a little later and throughout this week also. But so you have contributions from individual agents that, are small town. And I don't want to say that. I'm not trying to paint any kind of picture, but our small town insurance agent that's supporting you. You have some of those contributions, but not from political action committees.
You are correct.
Okay. Let me ask you this now. This is something that I did not get a straight answer, and you're the one on the line with me, so I'm not implying to our audience that you would not give me a straight answer. Okay, that's my promise. Okay, there was 3 candidates there, so I'm not saying you did not. What I could not get wrapped around is the insurance commissioner's budget, and there's not a lot of choices here. Is $21,550,000. And and that's for 2019. In 2016, it was $20,957,000. It really has not increased. It's kind of been stagnant 2017, 18, and 19. But yet, Georgia's budget goes up $1 billion a year. Now, the reason I didn't feel like I really got the answer I was looking for, you got to do something here. Okay, the current commissioner has given out raises. The current commissioner had to furlough. What happens this coming year? He had to furlough employees. He had to lay 12 or 13 off. And there was $4 million was budgeted for the personal services in the special fraud program. $3 million of that was moved over to administrative, which only left $1 million. So my question Saturday that I don't really think I got an answer to is if you move the $3 million back to special fraud services program there, then what do you do with the employees that already have raises? Do they get furloughed again next year to try to meet this budget? Because it's the same budget as last year. I mean, I guess I'm just confused at what do we do? Do we go back to the state and say we really need $3 million more, or just dig into it and see if we can make cutbacks to get everybody happy?
We need to look at that and not necessarily be shifting money from one special account to another within the office. That's a problem. And I know that the special fraud assessment fee collections had significantly exceeded expenditures during several fiscal years prior. So we need to have a streamlined plan. Look at this closely. Obviously, there's been some bad information, and people lost their jobs because of telling the incumbent that there was money to be spent. We need experts in finance to look at this and figure out what the problem is. I'm not an accountant. I am not a CPA, but I do have close friends that are those. And this would require some investigation and thorough planning for how to best manage this budget, which is not being managed well.
What is the special fraud program?
I am looking at the audit now. On page 19, the special fraud assessment fees and companies.
But isn't that an investigation? Isn't that the special fraud investigation program?
That is what it was designed to be, and we need to figure out how to best use those funds. We don't need to be shifting them for administrative fees. It needs to be used to investigate fraud on both sides, and fraud is not just from consumers. Fraud also occurs on the other side with insurance companies.
Okay, let me go to one or two more things in what short time we have left. Almost $8 million, $7,959,000, right at $7,960,000 is for fire safety. And some people do not, maybe don't know or are not aware that you would actually appoint the fire marshal. And there was a lot of questions Saturday, and I've gotten a lot of questions around the state that money has actually been moved out of fire safety budget and used elsewhere also. And there's so many fire safety jobs that are not filled, or programs that are not being, continued, so on and so forth. Have you looked at the fire safety side of it, and what are your concerns where that is?
Fire safety is crucial, and as I mentioned, we would need to look at how to best staff that. I don't believe it should be understaffed. It is absolutely crucial. We should not be moving line items from one segment of the budget to another to cover shortfalls. And I have consulted with many fire chiefs and former fire marshals, actually, that have ideas for education and streamlining and how to best make this division more effective so that we can best look after the citizens of Georgia.
The fire safety, hospitals, nursing homes, schools, courthouses, I mean, you name it. These are the elevators. These are inspections that the state is responsible for. And there's a lot of concern, but see, I keep hearing it's not just from you, Ms. Jordan. I heard from the other two candidates is there's positions that are not filled. But there's an audit that there's an overrun. There's money moved from one budget. Obviously, you're not in there. You're running for the office. There's money that seems to be moved out of one column to another column. And it's not that the money is missing. It's just being used elsewhere and not in certain areas. I mean, I know we've already talked about it, but can you give me a couple of the points in the audit that are most disturbing to you and some of the first things you would have to do, you feel you'd have to do as the new insurance commissioner if elected?
There are many items in the budget. As you mentioned, it's about 23 or 24 pages. And actually, my copy is 32 pages, excuse me. And it needs to be looked at by someone that is an expert that can streamline this budget. We cannot continually shift from one line item to another. Either it's incorrectly entered to begin with, and needs to be revamped, or we need to make sure that it's correct and use the funds appropriately. I am not an expert in this office yet, but I intend to be an expert in this office when elected, because I will take my business sense and common sense to the office, surround myself with those people that know how to streamline and fix this budgetary issue. And we cannot continue to have smoke and mirrors in government. We need to be transparent, say what we mean and mean what we say, and go forth and serve the citizens across the state of Georgia effectively. They are the ultimate consumers, and they're paying the price. We need to do the best job for these people that elect us.
Your opponents, they have an insurance background. They have a background with the fire safety division. They have a background with, Mr. Flores, Jay Flores, resigned as actual deputy director, commissioner of this office to run for the office. Mr. Beck has a background within this office. They both have worked here. I know I'm being redundant. So what say to the citizens of Georgia that, you without the experience and them with all the experience, that you could go in and do the job?
Well, the wonderful thing is that I do not have ties to the industry, so I'm not beholden to any special interest groups, and I have no bias. I come in with a clear lens and a fresh voice and a fresh perspective. And I humbly say, if both of these gentlemen have been in the office of the insurance commissioner, why are there problems now? Why did they not help solve them? Have they been a part of the problem is one of my questions. I am a completely fresh voice outsider that comes with it with business sense and common sense and none of their connections. I believe if I had been in their position, and especially if I had been a recent deputy, I would own up to any of the problems that might be in the office, and I would have had solutions on how to fix them other than to furlough and lay off employees.
Okay. The last thing I have this morning is obviously, you're trying to run a statewide race off of, $500 here and there on your campaign contribution. How's it going out there? Are you how many campaign events are you hitting a day? What is Miss Jordan's game plan as far as trying to match up with some of the money in this race?
I attend many campaign events each day and each week. I typically am gone many days of the week, traveling around the state, seeing counties that I'm not familiar with and meeting wonderful people. We have been underfunded because I am an insurance industry outsider. I am not the darling of the large companies, so I don't have the maxed out contributions from those large companies. But I believe that my message resonates with the average citizen across the state far better than someone that has ties to the industry, because just like the people that I speak with as I canvass Georgia, I too have been in their positions. I have been that business owner. I have known those people in the communities that have had struggles. I've witnessed it. I've actually been in the same boat with many of these people, and they understand that I'm coming to it from a consumer perspective and that I am there to fight for them. I would much rather have 10 $100 contributors, because I have an army of 10 people that have skin in the game and a stake to see me succeed, rather than have those one maxed out contributors that are the special interest groups, because ultimately the dollars do not equal the votes. Each person casts a vote, and I believe that with the people across the state supporting me, we can go forth and make a huge difference and an impact for the better for the consumers of Georgia.
When I go to political forums, town halls, or meet the candidate, meet and greet, or Republican Party, and you know what I'm talking about, it's every night, it's election season. I go somewhere every night myself. A lot of times when there's a candidate there, or one of the questions I will hear the most in the room from the audience is, would you support us being able to purchase insurance across state lines? And some of the thought process is the current insurance commissioners in a lot of these states, they have to validate their existence, and if we sold across state lines, there wouldn't be their existence wouldn't be as important, and and there would be no need to have ties to some of these insurance companies, and they would like that. They don't want that. That's just me. I don't know. I mean, I kind of messed that up, but that's what I hear a lot. Do you hear that when you go into a lot of the rooms when people ask questions?
A lot of people do ask about competition across state lines, and I believe that is a good thing. Politicians and business owners need to check their egos at the door and do what is best for the people in the state of Georgia. And competition causes everyone to elevate their game. It makes everyone step up and do the best. And I think that the consumers will be the ultimate beneficiaries if we have more competition. Now, that being said, any company that comes into Georgia would have to be regulated and make certain that they're solvent and able to serve the needs of the people of Georgia. And they would have to follow any of our rules to the same degree, even if rules were more lax in another state. But this would bring about a positive change for the people of Georgia to have more competition, to lower rates, and get better service.
I do want to leave with one thing, because when we go to these meetings, we hear insurance rates, insurance commissioner, fire safety, but the actual office has several other departments or agencies in there. What are some of the other things that you would oversee as the insurance commissioner in this office?
It impacts everything from automobile insurance to health insurance to homeowners insurance to flood to industrial loans. There's so many ways that this office touches the lives of every person from the moment their feet hit the floor in the morning until they go to bed at night. It's a crucial part of your everyday existence, and for so long it's been overlooked. It's not a glamorous position, it's a tough job. It's one that's going to require a serious person to form some serious solutions to these problems that we've had. We need to have someone that is young enough to get in and have energy and roll up their sleeves and fight this battle to make it better, but they also need to be old enough to have some real world experience. And I'm proud to say I've had 27 years of real world business experience serving people in my area, and I am prepared, if the people of Georgia are willing to give me their support, I am prepared to go forward and serve the consumers across the state of Georgia with the same passion and determination as I have in my business world for 27 years.
Ms. Jordan, we appreciate you coming on, and I want to extend an apology if some of my questions were rambling a little bit. Like I said this morning, we were out of power up here in North Georgia, and we had a tough little storm night, so I'm not 100%, so my apology to you if my questions were a little confusing and around in circles. You have a great day. We appreciate you coming on, and maybe we can get you back on before actual election day on May 22nd.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate your questions, and I look forward to speaking with you again and sharing my message and my platform about how I can help the people of Georgia when they elect me as insurance commissioner.
Ms. Jordan, you have a great day. Thank you very much. We've been on the line with Ms. Tracy Jordan, and I apologize if I'm a little around the map. I told you, dealing with about an hour's sleep here. The deck chairs were rearranged all night long on the side porch. A nice and stormy night here in North Georgia. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, I want to make some brief comments. Stay with me, because I don't want to convolute my discussion with the candidate, but I want to come back and say why I think this office is a mess and what my opinion is briefly. I'm going to give you a 10-minute on why you should think this office out. I'm your host, BKP. Take us a break, Amanda.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
The Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's TEAS. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
Better days ahead. Yellow pollen means green cash at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. The spring savings event is on at Days, and the discounts are deep. Now save up to $11,000 off select new 2018 Chevy Silverados, or up to $6,000 off select new 2018 Equinox. Pick any Chevy you want and save a bunch during the spring savings event going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
One.
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And we continue our candidate interviews. And joining me now, Tucker Green, candidate for Pickens County on the Republican ticket, Pickens County Board of Education. Mr. Green, how are you today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. Let me ask you a question right out of the box. Is this your first time running for office?
This is my first time running for office for Pickens County Board of Education, Post 3.
Post 3. Now, why did you decide to run for office? Let's get into it. It's your first campaign. Why Pickens County Board of Education? And let's just dig right in. What do you see there that you want to be a member of the Board of Education?
Well, Brian, first off, you know, Pickens County, I was raised there. It's deeply important to me. As cliche as that might sound, I have a deep love for the county. I'm product of the Pickens County school system. I was went K through 12 there, Hill City Elementary, Jasper Middle School, and Pickens High School. And really what it came down to at the end of the day, when I got to thinking about it, the future success of Pickens County is deeply important to me, and I could think of nothing more important than a sturdy educational foundation for the future generations coming up. I believe deeply that if Pickens County schools does not succeed, Pickens County will not succeed in the future. And so, I believe I can really bring a unique perspective to the board, not being that far removed from the school system, being a product of it, being out in the real world now and seeing kind of how their preparation of the students, applies and translates into the real world, areas we can improve and things like that. So that's why I decided to run, and I think it's going well so far. We've been able to meet with a lot of people out in the community, and looking forward to it.
Well, let me say this, because you said you're not far removed from it. Are you saying, it's not been that long ago that you were a student there yourself?
Well, that's right, yes. As you can maybe tell, I'm a little younger than some candidates will be, and I didn't graduate too long ago from Pickens High School. But I was extremely involved and have been extremely involved since I left school. I graduated class president, Mr. PHS, involved in a lot of civil organizations around the community in Pickens County, involved within the school system and out, and been involved a lot since I've left. I've had the opportunity to actually work with Pickens County government some, so I come from a family business, long time, pretty large small business, and they've so I have that background. I've had some government experience, and I think all that come together will really help me bring that unique perspective.
Well, let me just say this, and the good thing that I enjoy in doing the interviews, for the most part, the people that come in, I do know, and in disclosing this morning, I remember taking your picture at graduation, and I remember, I know on Friday nights, you've been on one side of the sideline, or we've passed each other on Friday nights at the football game many times. So I am aware of your roots, your dedication to Pickens County High School, the school system. I'm aware of that, and you don't have to convince me. So when I say convince, here's the things that you may have to convince some voters.
Right.
You're currently a full-time student.
Correct, yes.
Over at UGA.
Correct.
Okay, how do you balance being a full-time student over at UGA and being a Pickens County school board member?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. And I've had some people ask me that too. And what I try to stress to people is, first off, technically school board is a part-time position, although I don't approach it as a part-time position, and I think you ask any board member, they'd tell you it's not really a part-time position. But it's designed largely where people would have a job anyway, a full-time job, and many board members do have a full-time job, some out of town. And that's really the way I view it. This is my full-time job in a lot of ways, and it just happens to be out of town. But if I thought for a second that I couldn't fully dedicate myself to the office and to the responsibilities that comes with it, I can tell you I would not be running. But I'm confident that I'll be able to manage, and that I will be able to be here in Pickens County, be present as I am already, and really dedicate myself completely to the job.
So you can adjust your schedule of classes to try to make sure, and there are situations where people do work out of town. There are situations where people have to work late, can't make a meeting, and that's understandable. It is a part-time position, school board. But you make a commitment to the voters to make the adjustments, maybe in some class schedule, to where generally the meetings, the regular meetings, you will be able to attend.
That's correct. Yes, I commit that I'm going to do everything I can to adjust my schedule, be as flexible as I can to where I can be here more than just meetings, be here at events, be it athletic events, fine art events, academic events, and because I think that's important that we're here and involved and as hands-on as we can be.
There's fiduciary duties of a board member. We're looking in the area of a $42 million budget.
Right.
It's a lot of money, $42 million in a school system.
Yes.
Okay. explain to me and the voters how you feel you're prepared to make these kind of financial decisions when it comes time to putting a budget together, what is presented for approval for a budget, and how deep have you looked into that budget?
Right. Well, another good question. I think, as I said earlier, my roots, my family is a business owners, ran a business for over 45 years. So I grew up in that, and budgets and employees and things of that nature is no foreign concept to me. But now that's private sector. And as I told you, I've worked with the county government for the past 2 years, Pickens County government. And I can tell you, if anyone's not looked into it, a government budget and private sector budget are completely different. And it's a different animal in itself. And I've had a lot of exposure, thankfully, to some government budgets in the past couple of years, how they work, the process, coming about it. I like to say the alphabet soups of fund bowls. You got your SPLOST and your LMIGs and your eSPLOST as far as Board of Ed goes, and so many others. And there's so many, it's really complex, and a lot of people don't understand the funding at all the different levels. And education is even more complex than I believe county government as far as funding goes. You got federal, state, local dollars coming in. You got all kinds of different tax revenues coming in that are allocated for certain things. And I believe I have a good grip on that, a good understanding of how that works. And we have a great staff at Pickens County Schools that I'm familiar with, have worked with some, that I think do a pretty good job of running the finances. I think, there's a lot of areas to look at. It is a pretty large budget. It's the largest government budget in Pickens County, like most counties are. Your school system budget is the largest. But overall, they do a pretty good job. I think the school system's in a pretty good financial situation. And, I will always, I'm a conservative. That's where I come from. I'll always go with a fiscal mind and trying to always spend the tax dollars wisely. And that's always the approach I'm going to do, and make decisions that I think are justifiable to benefit the school system.
Okay, let me go back to that a little bit, because I like to dig into that, and it doesn't matter if it's a county commission seat, Board of Education seat. I never change this focus where the candidate's concerned is the budget. One, yes, the Board of Education isn't, you have to get a book of acronym definitions when you go to Board of Education, okay? We know that, right?
Right.
And second, yes, there's a lot in this budget. Have you reviewed the budget? Have you actually looked over the budget and reviewed it?
I have looked over the budget. I haven't dove into it as much as I would like to. I'm continuing to do that. It's a pretty large budget. I guess you've looked at it.
Yes.
As you know, and there's a lot in it. But I have generally looked at the budget, yes.
Well, I don't like to bring a candidate in and start drilling into certain areas, because of the fact that that until you're inside, there are things you don't see. There's the binder you don't see when you're a candidate, as opposed to being in the inside. So, but what I do like to know is that a candidate did take the position serious enough to go get the budget and at least start looking through it.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of things in there also, and it's. It can get a little convoluted, because you mentioned a minute ago, you have different programs, and almost every single program has government subsidy, the state supplement, and the local supplement. And every program has so much percent, so it can be confusing and complicated. You ready for that kind of stuff?
I believe I am. I've had a lot of exposure in different things. As I said, private sector, government work. Had accounting courses. I'd say I've had probably more recent accounting courses than some people. And again, that's just the position I'm in. And so, I believe so. And, as I said, I'll always, I'm fully committed to the voters, to doing my best, doing my due diligence on every decision I make, especially when it comes to taxpayer dollars.
Okay. Pickens County senior tax exemption.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the time to get so deep into it, but let me just put this whole thing in a box, and then you explain it the best of your ability here for the voters. Pickens County currently, the school board tax is $17 million. Okay, the state says you can only max 20. The state says that you can only levy as school board 20 mil on the citizens.
Right.
If you had to go over 20 mil, you have to go back to the state legislature and kindly say, here's my reasons why, and get a special exemption to go over 20.
Right.
I'm good. You have a fund balance, okay? If your fund balance continue to eat out of a fund balance, you have to start raising millage rate. Now, senior tax exemption. If you need $42 million to operate this year, if Pickens County School says they need $42 million to operate, that means they're saying they need it next year.
Right.
So could you put in a box what happens if there's an exemption for seniors? And I'm not trying to be negative to seniors. It's just something that's going to be on the ballot,
right.
The question, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is a big issue going on in Pickens County, as you know, and many have got involved with it. I'm encouraged to see so many people taking the initiative to get involved on both sides, and then those in the middle who are just trying to educate themselves and figure the issue out. Right now, Pickens County has a senior tax exemption with a maximum income of $25,000. Basically, I'm not going to get into the complexities of the exemption.
I understand.
Homestead, this and that, but there is an exemption for seniors in Pickens County. And what we have is there's a group of seniors in Pickens County, and I don't want to speak for them, but they want to kind of expand that exemption to cover more senior citizens within the county. There's been several different proposals, just a type of blanket exemption for senior citizens of a certain age. Once they meet that age, they're exempt from school tax. Further, there's been set at certain income levels, raising it to in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range. There was a couple of different proposals, and that was one of the ones that they ended up going with that will be on the ballot, is the potential to propose that. But it's centered around forming a committee, basically, that will study, if they vote that option, they will study the school exemption, and then it will be set, recommended by the committee, to my understanding, and then voted on, I believe, by the state legislature. But one of the big concerns that I know a lot of people have in Pickens County is that if you increase a senior tax exemption substantially and you exempt them from paying school tax, it is going to severely lower the revenue coming into the school system.
Exactly.
And the only option you're going to have is either you can, not replace that, which that's not an option. Your schools begin to fail and you have all kinds of problems. Or you're going to have to shift that tax burden on the rest of the population. And so it's a really, really delicate issue because, we sympathize for senior citizens. As you said, it's nothing against senior citizens. We sympathize for them completely. And several of them are in difficult situations, and I understand that. I've talked with many of them. But the reality is, if we go forward with some type of blanket exemption that removes them from the tax revenue on the school system, I believe, and I believe it's the consensus of many people in Pickens County, that it would really, really hurt, be a detriment to the school system. And then it's going to really hurt a great deal of the population of taxpayers.
Well, I'm here to say that if you say as a school system you need $42 million today, and I don't know whether they need it or not, but if you're saying I need $42 million today, next year you're saying I need $42 million, and if you take out of that, where do you get it from? It does shift the burden.
Right.
And that's why I started out with, you're at 17 mils, you can only go to 20,
right.
and you have a fund balance, and you want at least 4 months to 6 months, but 4 months of operating capital right. in case there's any kind of an emergency.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let me just ask you, wrapping that up, give me a couple examples that are key issues to you on the Board of Education, like the reasons you're running. What are some of the things that you look into the Board of Education and say, I want to be on this board because this is coming up, this is coming up, and this is coming up, and I want to be a part of it?
Well, one of the big things that I want to try and push us forward on is an area of concern. It's one of the pillars of my campaign, life preparation for whatever path our students choose. And what I really mean by that is, and it's not just here in Pickens County, it's a state and federal curriculum, but there's a large emphasis, and has been for 2 decades now, on driving students towards college. And and there's nothing wrong with that, but what I want to do is make sure we're providing the opportunities and preparing students for whatever path they choose. College isn't the path for everyone, and we don't need everyone to go to college. If they want to go to a trade school, if they want to go into the workforce, apprenticeship, internship programs while they're in high school, we need to open up these opportunities to make sure we're not leaving students behind. Make sure whatever is best for them, that they're getting that preparation before they leave us. And that's one of the really big things that's important to me. We need to make sure we support our teachers, raise morale, that they have the resources they need in the classroom. School safety is a big hot topic. Need to make sure. I think Pickens County Schools does a fairly good job of putting an emphasis on school security. I think there's plans to continue that. I certainly want to advocate for that, making sure that we harden our schools, make sure we have a safe and secure school environment. If we can't protect our kids, everything else we do as a school system, doesn't matter at that point. So that's really important. And then also just continuing, philosophies that I feel really important to me. Fiscal responsibility, make sure we're justifying expensive taxpayer dollars, and then trying to be as transparent as we can as a school system.
Mr. Green, let me just say this. I don't push a candidate into a yes and no. That's totally up to you how you want to answer this. So I don't push a yes or no, but as tax increases or raising taxes, if elected during your term, would you do everything you can to avoid raising taxes on the citizens of Pickens County while in office?
Yes, I will do everything I can to prevent any type of tax increase to the school system. As far as where the school system goes, as far as taxes
right.
on the citizens. I'm for fiscal responsibility, as little taxes as possible, and as you said, we're at 17-something mills. We have a pretty high tax rate as it is, school system-wise. And I'm not saying that's not justifiable, but, I would do everything I can to try and make sure that we don't raise taxes on the citizens.
Mr. Green, I appreciate you coming in and being on the show. You have any final comments for the voters out there before we close?
Well, I just appreciate you for having me. We're getting a lot of momentum. I really enjoy getting to meet a lot of the citizens of Pickens County. I hope you'll continue to reach out to me. I'm going to try and reach out to you. I'd be honored to have your vote. Tucker Green for Pickens County School Board. Early voting starts next week, April 30th, runs through May 18th. And that's weekdays, and then there's a Saturday, May 12th early voting day available. Primary will be May 22nd. So please make sure you get out and vote. Be honored to have your support. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Like we always say at FetcherNews.com, we wish you well in your campaign, and we thank you for your willingness to want to serve the citizens of Pickens County. Thank you very much.
Thanks for what y'all do.
Good luck. Tucker Green, Board of Education, Pickens County Republican primary. We'll be right back after these messages with our next candidate. Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Here's to 60 years of Pizza Hut, to original pan, to stuffed crust, and to the best of both. The new double cheesy crust pan pizza with stuffed crust cheese baked just inside the golden edge of original pan. Here for a limited time. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Yellow pollen means green cash at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. The spring savings event is on at Days, and the discounts are deep. Now save up to $11,000 off select new 2018 Chevy Silverados, or up to $6,000 off select new 2018 Equinox. Pick any Chevy you want and save a bunch during the spring savings event going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Here's to 60 years of Pizza Hut, to original pan, to stuffed crust, and to the best of both. The new double cheesy crust pan pizza with stuffed crust cheese baked just inside the golden edge of original pan. Here for a limited time. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair.
One.
We're back, and I'm your host, BKP, and good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're joined now on the line with Republican candidate for Georgia Governor, Casey Cagle. Mr. Cagle, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Brian. It's great to be with you this morning.
Let me go right to some pointed questions. I know you have a busy day, and I don't know how much time we really have. So I'm going to stay with some pointed questions. Last night I had the opportunity to, and I do this all through the campaign season, of going to living rooms where there's 20 people and a candidate is there on a meet and greet. And I went to one in Hiawassee, Georgia last night, about 20 in the living room, and a candidate was there. And what I hear all the time in these little settings, intimate settings, is every single one comes out with the question, no matter the candidate, about the budget. And we have a budget that has grown over $1 billion a year. I think it went from $17 billion, now we're up to $26 billion. And sometimes the answer I get it's paralleling the rate of growth for services in the state of Georgia. But that's not what's getting asked in the living rooms in Georgia in small communities. What would a Governor Casey Cagle do about this, what we feel is an exploded budget, and can it be cut? Can we still get the services? What say you?
Well, there's no question. First and foremost, with me as governor, there are two things that I'm going to implement. One is a true zero-based budgeting approach, and that comes out of the governor's office. The governor's the one that presents the budget and controls the agencies. And so one is we're going to have a zero-based budget. And then secondly is that will be put in place with a program-based budgeting methodology. And so that is to specifically direct agencies to understand what it is they're programming in their budget to determine the outcomes that we're looking for. And as a result, oftentimes budgetarily, we're only dealing with what's called the continuation portion of it. We've got to get to the very base and really refocus agencies on doing exactly what they're designed to do and not just continuing to add layer on top of layer. So yes, there is significant cuts that can be made to the budget, and it can be done through utilizing more efficiencies and obviously programming in the right direction.
Well, let me say this, and I know I'm not wanting to get the discussion on other states and how they budget, but the Georgia budget, although you balance the budget with tax receipts, which is the state's constitution, that you have to balance it every year. But some other states, they break up departments and pass these appropriations bills individually for departments instead of what I call, even in Georgia, and I know you may not like this, still the budget's like an omnibus where everything does get pushed in, and sometimes it's hard to look into each and every department to see what can be cut.
Well, and again, going back to what I just articulated, which I think is very, very important, is you're right. In this omnibus bill, the only thing that you're really analyzing is the increase over and above or the decrease in that particular agency. And what needs to occur is we need to begin every single year, no different than we do in our family or no different than I do in my businesses, the same kind of approach that we start at a zero. We begin over every single year and we program accordingly in a zero-based budgeting approach. That will create greater efficiencies and a reduction in cost as well.
All right, let's talk about job growth. And all too many times we hear, and I'm going to come from it from a conservative side, conservatives don't really like to hear a politician say, create jobs. We don't believe government creates jobs. We would like to hear more of somebody telling us of creating an environment that is business friendly to grow jobs. So can you define what a Governor Casey Cagle would do to promote and put an environment in place for us to grow jobs in Georgia, not create them?
Yeah. Well, one, I think you're right. I mean, we do have a tendency to talk about the creation, but let's be honest, government does not create jobs. It is the private sector that does so. And we, as public policy makers, obviously, create an environment by which businesses can grow and add those jobs and be successful. And that type of system is in place, and it needs to be fair and equitable to all. If you're a big business or a small business, a mom and pop, the same type of incentives, tax incentives, need to exist for everyone. And I know that sometimes people use that to think that that's a dirty word, but let me be very clear. Economic development is a full contact sport, and we have statutory incentives that are in place. And when I say that, that means a jobs tax credit. So if you're a small business and you're creating 10 jobs, then you get the same exact job tax credit that a large company like Mercedes-Benz or Amazon or whoever else is coming in. That is important, that we have equitable across the board for all. And then making sure that our environment is conducive. And when we say that, let me be honest, the reason we've been able to create almost 700,000 jobs, or an environment where those jobs can be created, is we have a low tax state. We have a regulatory environment that is fair and just, a tort system that is not onerous to business, and a workforce that is second to none. Those are the four building blocks that have to occur in order to be successful. Now, we've got great assets like the Port of Savannah, the fastest growing port, the airport, which is the busiest airport, Fortune 500 companies that create a synergy where people want to be and locate and be a part of. All of those things are very, very important. And as governor, those are the levers that you have to pull. And the good thing is for Georgia is we have so much to offer and so many companies that want to be here. No one's leaving Georgia to go to California. They're all coming from California to Georgia. And it's because of that environment that we've created. And this historic tax cut that we just passed, moving 6% to 5.75 and then to 5.5, and under my administration we're going to lower it even more. Those types of things are game changers that continue to allow us to be the number one state to do business in.
Well, we hear that, and I appreciate your answer. So some of us would wonder, why not just say to Amazon, and I know this is not totally your call, I know Governor Deal and the economic development team is working on that, but why not tell Amazon this is the Georgia tax structure that everybody else is working within, and we would love to have you come to our state, but then we're hearing that there may be a special session called just to work out incentives for Amazon. So very quickly, so I can get to a couple more subjects, what say you where that's concerned?
Well, I mean, first of all, Amazon's going to operate under the same exact tax code that we currently have, no different than any of the others. The incentives that are over and above that is predominantly around local jurisdictions that are coming in with their incentive package. So, I mean, these are, yes, very complex, but at the end of the day, we're talking about 50,000 jobs. So there's no question that just the jobs tax credit statutorily that is in place would require you to have a special session just for that alone. So, but again, fairness, equitable to all, not sweetheart deals.
Well, 50,000 jobs in a company like that. Obviously there has to be some sort of impact studies when actually a public location, physical location is determined, and that could take time in itself, what the impact of the area is. I want to move to two things because I know our time is short, and two things where your opponents have. I was at the debate last week, Saturday night, a week ago, where the foster care bill came up, and I want you to clear something up for our viewers and people that you're asking for their vote this morning. The foster bill came up, and there was discussion on having the adoption, faith-based adoption protection amendment attached to it. And you said you used a legal statement as far as the rules of the Senate that it was not germane to the bill. Is foster care not one to care for children and hopefully reunite them with their family, and also to have maybe adoption? How was that not connected to that bill and could not been put on that amendment on the foster care bill according to the Senate rules, as you stated?
Yeah, so there are two components here. Number one is, any opponent or anyone that says that I am not in favor of giving protection to faith-based organizations is just flat wrong, because we passed the bill out of the state Senate. Now, this was an effort to find a vehicle or a rider to attach this language onto another bill. You can do that in the rules of the Senate, but it has to be germane, and germane means that it has to be legally attached in a way that is the same subject matter and the same code section. I am not the person who makes that ruling. It is a legal decision that is rendered by both the Secretary of the Senate as well as legal counsel, and they did not view that amendment as germane. And plain and simple. And so that, I mean, it's not an issue of right and wrong or gray area. It is an issue of clarity, and I had to make that. But for someone to insinuate that we, one, that I'm not in favor of it, and two, we hadn't already passed the bill, we had, and I have fought for that bill, and I'll continue to.
Well, let me ask you this, because as Lieutenant Governor, we have had bills, we have had RFRA bills, and the faith-based community out here in Georgia has felt like they've been let down and promised faith-based religious freedom and liberty bills, but then they got to Governor Deal's desk and they got vetoed, or we're in a session to where they didn't get through and get to the governor's desk. Can you tell the voters here in Georgia that are looking for a faith-based religious liberty bill that a Governor Casey Cagle will sign some form of bill?
Absolutely, unequivocally, and I have been as clear on this issue as I possibly can. If the legislature passes me a mirror image of the federal RFRA standard, I will sign the bill, plain and simple. It is the law of the land. A lot of the liberal left doesn't like it, and I, that's fine. They don't have to like it, but it is the law of the land, and it is a balancing test that ensures that faith-based organizations and people of faith like me are not discriminated against either. And so I think it is the right thing to do. It has been tried and true and tested over the years, and I'm very much in favor of it, and I'm not backing down.
After seeing what would be in the faith-based adoption or faith-based organization protection bill, something, all faith-based organization protection, obviously you'd have to see what was in it, but something like that on your desk could get signed as governor of Georgia.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the reason that I worked with Senator Ligon on the bill itself to pass it through the pass it through the Senate, and it stalled in the House. And so there's no question that I would advocate for those types of protections, and I think the bill itself was a fair bill. And again, one of my big issues was the Strengthening Families bill, and that in itself is really helping faith-based organizations to come in with wraparound services for single moms or single parents where they may have an addiction or they may have challenges and they need help with that addiction, but secondly, they need child care. They need someone temporarily to take care of that child. This is a great way for our faith-based organizations to come in through the power of attorney to help them versus having to look to government to solve our problems. This gives the parent the ability to make the right choices through a power of attorney temporarily to give custody for their child. It's a wonderful tool that's going to give parents more choices versus making sure that government is the heavy hand, and that's the direction that I want to go as governor.
I have two more things. One is a little deep, and the other one will be very quick. Your other opponent, Brian Kemp, actually came out, and your both campaigns have exchanged words over the NRA. And let me frame this up. During what took place with the NRA and Delta, to put it into altogether Delta, you actually gained some national recognition through a lot of media outlets on your stance and your tweet where Delta and the jet fuel tax exemption were concerned with the NRA and their stance. Let me ask you directly, did any legislation pass, whether it be in the transportation bill that is coming up with the 13 counties, or any other legislation passed this year that gives Delta any kind of jet fuel exemption at all?
No is the answer. And it's so frustrating, one, that you have so much fake news and you have individuals that want to politicize something that they know is not factual and is not right. And a letter when the transit bill was being passed out, I had the bill read. I had legislative counsel say, is there anything in here that gives Delta any exemption whatsoever? The answer was no, it does not. And you know, it's just unfortunate, but that's kind of the situation that we find ourselves in politics, that people want to blur the truth.
Well, Brian Kemp actually sent Chris, and I don't see Chris's last name here, an executive with the NRA, a letter, which I do have a copy of, quoting, saying, you've been Casey Cagled, you've already heard that a couple times, but referring to, as my words, a political stunt with the NRA Delta. And he asked the NRA to review HB 930. Why would he pick out HB 930? And what would you clear up? I know you just said, hey, I answered that, but why did he pick out HB 930? And why did he send this letter to the NRA, which you probably can't answer that?
Yeah, right. I can't speak for someone else. The only person I can speak for is myself. And so 930 was the transit bill. Okay, that was the bill. And this is dealing with taxation. And there was certain exemptions that were placed in there. But that is standard protocol on every single transit bill. So for MARTA or for a bus rapid transit, if the local communities decide to place a tax on themselves for MARTA or any of the other areas, then that exemption does apply. But that is, again, standard legislation that has been put in place every single time. Now, with that being said, there is nothing in there that gives Delta an exemption. Let me be clear. Delta was looking to go from a jet fuel tax to zero. That's what they were asking for. When they chose to engage on the liberal boycott, I said unequivocally, that is not going to happen. And it did not happen. The tax was taken out, and Delta is still paying a jet fuel tax today and into the future.
Well, let me ask you a Second Amendment question, what I call a Second Amendment question, because here recently his campaign is asked the NRA to do some further reviews before they would come out and endorse one candidate. And obviously in the letter which you have seen, he is asking them not to endorse you. But let me ask you a Second Amendment question here directly. Would you support state legislation that that would repeal a weapons carry license requirement for open carrying a handgun. Would you support state legislation that would repeal weapons carry license requirement for open carrying a handgun?
The short answer is yes. We have right now, as you know, a concealed weapon permit that individuals can obtain, and certainly there are issues pertaining to mental illness that is out there. I think all of us recognize that, including the NRA. But I believe that the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms, and this is not that government, is the one that, has to determine, who can get it and who can't. But with that being said, certainly none of us want individuals that clearly have a mental illness, and it is documented time and time again, being able to, to be out with, with a concealed weapon. But now, with that being said, I'm very, very much in favor of law-abiding citizens having no restrictions there.
We did send every candidate, every Republican and the 2 Democrat candidates for governor, the same request. We have received some back, but the NRA sends all candidates a questionnaire to fill out. I hope we've sent it to the right place, but could you see if we could get a copy of your questionnaire to the NRA? Because we've got other candidates' copy. If you could do that, we'd appreciate it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And let me just be very clear, too. I mean, I am the only candidate that has had an A-plus rating from the NRA every single year in public service. So my record speaks for itself on the issue of Second Amendment protection, and I don't think anyone can question that.
The citizens of Georgia want they want to feel safe.
Sure.
Crime, illegal gangs in the inner cities around Georgia, all over. We have a gang problem in Georgia, MS-13, illegals. What is the Casey Cagle plan for getting tough on crime and deporting legals, and how you identify who's going to get deported and who's not, and how to work within the federal government and also be tough on crime in Georgia?
Well, I think you probably have followed the fact that, one, not only did I outlaw sanctuary cities, but I also defunded sanctuary cities if they're not in compliance. And every single city and county has to prove to DCA that they are in compliance with the state law. And we have one in particular, Decatur, that I have taken before the Immigration Review Board, because they issued a statement or issued a policy that states to their law enforcement officers that if a federal detainer, if they pull someone over that has a federal detainer on them, they are not to communicate or cooperate with our federal partners. I believe that this is undeniably against the state law. And I have this is now before the board. It is the liberal side of Decatur is fighting it at every turn, and that's fine. But I'm going to fight it as well, because I believe that we are right. It is unconscionable to me to think that we are not going a criminal illegal alien that is pulled over by law enforcement with a federal detainer, that you would not cooperate and communicate with federal partners. It's just, it blows my mind. Not to mention the fact that it is a violation of the oath of office that the officer has taken on top of that. And so we're going to push this to make sure that every single city and county is in place. And listen, to the issue of the broader context of law and order, we have to hold every city, every county, and obviously our state accountable to ensure that we are enforcing the laws where people do feel safe. And too many of our urban areas today, they're looking the other way, and they're not being hard and tough on crime. And that's the reason that so many of these petty crimes are going on. And even to the point that one city issued a statement that said, we're not going to investigate or don't call us if someone is shoplifting. Are you kidding me? I mean, what are you saying to the criminal? It's okay because no one's going to comply. This is not going to be tolerated under a Cagle administration.
Obviously the governor is Governor Nathan Deal. It's his last term, and I certainly understand all the candidates obviously not wanting to say anything concerning the governor's office, and we're not asking you to do that, and it's understandable. But what would be one or two of the big differences in a Casey Cagle governor's office that we currently don't see? And it's not really that it's looking for a negative in Governor Nathan Deal. And let's put with that, what are maybe some of the bills that you would like to see on your desk that as Lieutenant Governor did not make it through, that maybe you said, I'd like to see this on my desk because I would sign it as governor? So what are some of the differences that you would do and have in the governor's office, and what bills would you like to see on your desk?
Well, I think every governor sets his own vision, for where you want to take the state. And this governor, Governor Deal, has done it. He's done a great job. But the torch will be passed on. And for me, the agenda that I want is I want to see a greater economic prosperity where no one is left behind. I want to see an even greater robust economy here for our state. And the reason I want that is because that allows our kids and our grandkids to have the types of jobs that they're going to need in order to be self-sufficient. Not having so many individuals that are sadly enough on governmental assistance and in that trapped in that entitlement process. I want to continue to build this world-class workforce that I've started as Lieutenant Governor with our college and career academies and our dual enrollment, our German apprenticeship programs, our early college initiative. I want every student to have that opportunity. I want to have more adult learning opportunities so individuals can be retrained to get to the workplace and be able to make as much money as they possibly can. That's what we believe in. That's what I want. I want to create that rising tide that lifts all boats in every single community across the state. And I've got the experience and the record and the understanding in order to accomplish that. And so that will be my priorities that are focused. Now, there are other pieces of all of those things that we can talk about, but the broader context of the vision is that we want our kids to have a good paying job and not to have more and more people that are turning to to a life of dependency on government or a life of crime. And this takes the right kind of public policies to move that needle.
We talk about immigration, and I'm sorry, sir, I will let you go. I know you're busy, and you've been kind enough to give us already 30 minutes. But we talk about illegals, and some of us immediately go to gangs and MS-13. But I mean, I'd like to hear myself how tough you'll be on illegals and what's going on in Georgia. They're a burden on our healthcare systems. They're a burden on our rural hospitals with indigent care. They're a burden on our school systems. We have to educate these children that come in. They're a burden. We issue them driver's license without distinguishing the difference in legal and not legal on the driver's license. So on, even to the fact that we give our driver's license test in so many different languages. But this is such a burden on the state, not just in gangs. How will you handle illegals in the state of Georgia? I know that's a big question, but is there something you can define in that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's multiple things. One is that I have championed really some of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country, and Georgia is in a good position. But we have to draw the line to work with our federal partners on the issue of illegal immigration. Now, and the president is doing a great job. He's even sending people to the border to make make sure that it is protected. And so we have to work with our federal partners, both in Congress, because they need to act, and they need to act swiftly. And honestly, they need to be better supporters of our president, in my opinion. But secondly, we have to have stronger partnerships with on the law enforcement side. This is critically important to ensure that those bad guys, those individuals that are not supposed to be here, are sent back. And so, but the first step is dealing with the criminal illegal alien component. That one is the one that I think all of us have strong agreement in, and that is why the sanctuary cities and the other laws that were passed. Listen, I tried to pass a very stricter illegal immigration bill that stalled in the House this year. So there are far more things that we can do, and I can assure you as governor, we're going to be pushing the envelope.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate the extended time. I know you got a long day of campaigning. We wish you well, Mr. Cagle, on the trail. We hope if you visit up here in North Georgia, maybe we can get you in studio. We know you're all over the state, 159 counties. I hope I got that right. Hopefully between now and the election, we can maybe get you back on once or twice. We thank you very much.
Absolutely, Brian. Great to be with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm your host, BKP. We have been talking with Republican candidate for Georgia Governor Casey Cagle, and we'll come back and wrap our day up. Maybe Amanda has something she wants to share with us, right? So take us to break.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Here's to 60 years of Pizza Hut, to original pan, to stuffed crust, and to the best of both. The new double cheesy crust pan pizza with stuffed crust cheese baked just inside the golden edge of original pan. Here for a limited time. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hey, we're back. It's Rick and Bruce from the office. a.k.a. Rhinestone Burlap, a.k.a. All-Star Panel. You know, Brian has really done a nice job in this last segment every day of bringing our own Amanda, our producer, in. And Amanda, you've got anything to throw at us today that we can banter about a little bit?
I do, guys. As you know, Brian likes to call me page 6 of FYN TV because I bring in all the TMZ and drama.
You are the drama queen, aren't you?
Yeah.
The TMZ girl.
Okay, so I saw a couple things yesterday where Maxine Waters is going crazy because Kanye West is all of a sudden shooting out MAGA, and you know that Democrats actually did form slavery, which is true. You know, the Democratic Party did form up slavery. And he's getting a lot of backlash on Twitter because of this whole situation. Everyone like Nick Cannon and a bunch of other celebrities that are just political experts are telling him to do some of his research. And Maxine Waters is basically telling him to shut up.
What's code speak for the way Maxine Waters is talking in your mind? Is she basically saying, hey, you've kind of come off the reservation a little bit. You need to get back into, you know, our control picture. Is that the way you see it?
Yes, but, you know, I have one thing that I usually call Maxine Waters is Madsine Waters. She's crazy. I don't give a rat's butt what she thinks. So, but, you know, good for Kanye. You know, if that sticks, I'm not a particular fan of his music or anything, but, you know, he is a bit, whether people want to believe it or not, parents out here, the more that these celebrities realize that they are a influence on our children, you know, hey, let's get some more positive influences out here and education instead of these, you know, ignorant tweets that are constantly posted every day.
And now Kanye's in a he said, she said with Obama, I think.
Right.
You know, about, well, he didn't, you know, he dissed me and then he won't apologize. And, you know, he's bringing in all these other rappers into the White House when I was his main squeeze for a while. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, that is completely the way I see it. And I do have another thing from last night. And Roseanne was on Jimmy Kimmel, and she hasn't really put a lot of input of all the backlash that she's getting for opening up and admitting that she is a Trump supporter. And so I wanted to play a quick clip of that.
Yeah, play that clip of her. I'm assuming you've got control over the audio on this one, right?
Yes, I do. Hang on one sec.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And congrats on...
Oh, thank you, Jimmy.
Congrats on Roseanne. I mean, I know you are
right?
Roseanne, but congrats. I mean, it was one of the, was it 20 million people or something? And one, I mean, there was a giant hit.
27.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Let's get the number right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's the biggest thing ever.
It's so awesome.
Did you expect that response?
No, because I never have expectations. I just have hopes.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I was blown away. And, you know, I think people just identify with the family and they missed them. They missed the family.
Yeah, there's even something, even just the couch is kind of like comfort food. When you just see the Roseanne couch, you go, oh, yeah, I know
We had to rebuild everything because they threw it out because we didn't think we'd ever come back. So they what do you call it, replicated all of it down to the wallpaper and everything. They did a great job.
Wow. Did it feel weird going back on the set?
Yeah, it was like we all felt like it. No time had passed at all, like that maybe we had a month off and it was 21 years. But it just all clicked and it was just like being home.
Yeah, I mean, well, it couldn't be a bigger thing. But then also with the big hit comes people that aren't so happy as well. If you say that you're a supporter of Donald Trump or...
Oh, yeah, people are mad about that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't give a
Yeah.
Yeah. She told it like it was, right?
I missed all the fun.
She did. Good for her.
You know,
but, you know, I want to ask you, because obviously I did not grow up in the 60s. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up around the first Bush and Clinton era. And I don't remember as a kid, you know, or growing up, even as a teenager, really until Obama hit office. Because he hit office when I was starting college.
Okay.
And I don't remember any politics back in the day, you know, back in the Peter Jennings day, getting brought up during TV shows.
Now, but you know that segment that we did earlier, if there was anything about politics being brought up, it was marginalized to make it look like the conservatives were kooks. And I think what was happening with the Roseanne show in the 90s is they were playing to their audience, and they were actually they were playing to the flyover families, if you will.
Right.
Not the East Coast, not the left coast, but they were playing to the 60% of the people that are struggling the same way Roseanne and her family were.
Right.
And now they've come back in this, and like she said, they've come back, it seemed like they were gone a month, but it was, 21 years, she said, something like that. And it's working again because you've got that same base, and she said, I'm happy to align myself with the 63% of the people that are Trump supporters.
Right.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it's working for me. I've always loved Roseanne, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Bruce just said, it was always an irreverent show.
Yeah.
But people identified with the weekly crises that they were going through. Whether it be not enough money to pay for the groceries, you've got challenges with raising kids. You got a husband that probably is bigger than he needs to be, and whatever.
She was bigger than too.
Yeah, but all we've done is translate it now to current day.
I've got something to add in on that.
Please.
So, like you're saying, they integrated a lot of, relatable things with these shows in the 90s. And I want to explain another big thing that was kind of implemented when I was in school, because I was in debate in high school. And other than that, I grew up kind of in a generation where it was not okay to talk about politics or religion. And I do think that, this is where a lot of like the Obama era and the deep state kind of tie back in stronger than ever. Because so many people, I think why politics, especially, since Trump has been in office and the big Make America Great Again and everything else, that's been, his slogan and his ideal, it's just exploded in the past couple years. Like, people, especially my generation, have never talked about politics as much as they have, especially on a social media platform or anything, as much as they do now.
You're seeing your age, your generation.
It's like another revolution. It's just it's so much that people don't, they don't even know what to think. And I think that's why all these platforms have so much going on right now, is because this is new to my generation. I'm telling you, like, we were brought up in a generation where we do not do politics or religion.
And she was just saying that she was brought up in a generation where they really don't talk politics. She was on the debate team and things like that in high school, but now all of a sudden it's like her own revolution with her peers, that everybody is on social media and they're really getting involved with politics now. And it's like, the Make America Great Again bandwagon. And you think this is nationwide, this phenomenon that you're describing? Or
I do, and it's even more explosive with all of the platforms that we have now on social media. It's just this information is getting here and there, and everyone's just learning. We're learning so much, that we want more and more, because this is new for us, especially in the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Well, we had our revolution in the 60s. We started the Students for a Democrat. We didn't. The SDS, Students for a Democratic Society.
Yep.
Started. They were the anti-war group, and
Gloria Steinem with the feminists.
The feminism movement, burning bras and burning flags. I mean, it was a genuine revolution, and we didn't have social media. And we were being fed by 3 networks only. CBS, NBC, and ABC were the gods, and they came out at night, and you believed what Walter Cronkite said. You believed in what Tom Brokaw said. Mm-hmm. And what Tom Brokaw was a little later, actually, than the 60s, but
Huntley and Brinkley.
Yeah, Huntley and Brinkley.
Yeah.
Whatever they fed was the mantra. So, but people were not putting up with that. They were saying, wait a minute, you know, some of this stuff doesn't make any sense, the stuff you're feeding us. So I understand, I can kind of relate to exactly what you're saying, which is what Bruce and I were talking about earlier with our, with our generational gap. But you tend to seem like you're going through the same thing.
Yeah, and I think, especially after your guys' era, it was just more of keeping peace type mentality. And then, after that, the 80s come in and MTV and all of that turns into kind of a musical generation. Yeah. Because, like when we were growing up, it's all MTV. You go after school, get your bag of chips, sit on the couch and watch MTV. And, that was our thing. And if you wanted to keep peace, like in school and everything else, you just didn't want to really clash, you don't talk about politics or religion.
Don't rock the boat, right?
Yeah. So, this is new for us. And I think this is why everything, especially like that Kanye is trying to say, because this is how the deep state will use that to their advantage. They will keep those ideals just to shut us up, and then behind the scenes they're doing everything else, and then before we know it, there's all these things out here that we have no idea about, and all these new laws and healthcare reforms like that we have nothing to do with and that we have no knowledge with, and we just follow along like sheep. Yeah. So Trump came in and turned all that around, and we're like, whoa, our minds are exploding.
That's exactly right. That's why they talked about, he talked about draining the swamp. It's a long, slow process. And, whether it can be accomplished or not, still, it's still out there. You don't know, but, he's making some inroads, and you really don't know from one day to the next, who's part of that establishment and who really is on Trump's side and who really isn't. But is there kind of in as a figurehead. So
yeah,
that's kind of a cool analogy though that you and it's refreshing for us to see that if there is a generation that's starting to get it, starting to question, starting to ask questions, not assume that what you're hearing from everybody is the truth, but possibly fake news. It gives us a little bit more peace of mind. My son is, and Bruce's kids, they're all in their mid-30s, and you're right, they're paying attention.
Yeah,
they're more informed than I would have even imagined. They're more informed now. They're more informed at their age than I was at that same age, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think the danger is with the internet and social media and all that. I mean, there is so much information. I mean, you have these fact-checking groups and this and that, and even them, are politically motivated.
Yeah, Snopes funded by Soros.
Yeah, so I mean, you really, it becomes more of a burden to separate the truth,
wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, the truth from all the smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
So.
But that's all I've got back for today, and I will let you guys get back to your nostalgia of back in the '60s.
Well, we can keep talking about this generational stuff till we close out. But
I can put a tag on that. But no, you go to that, and then I'll kind of put a bow on it with this.
Well, I was talking about Lonnie's kind of our. I see Lonnie Adams is with us in the control room, and. Lonnie's a big time movie buff, and he's in tune with what's popular, what's not. He'll give us movie reviews, and he's a student of that game, if you will. And Lonnie, I would just say that I was shocked when I went back into the '60s and saw the cadre of of movies that have become classics. And I'll crash through a few of them. Psycho, To Kill a Mockingbird, the spaghetti western groups, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly et al., Goldfinger, and several of the James Bond movies.
Goldfinger.
Yeah, The Graduate, Cool Hand Luke, The Birds, Lawrence of Arabia, 2001: A Space Odyssey, West Side Story. Bruce was talking about all the soundtracks, Sound of Music, Bonnie and Clyde, Mary Poppins, Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Apartment, Steve McQueen, The Great Escape, Spartacus with Kirk Douglas, Planet of the Apes, Dr. Zhivago, From Russia with Love, The Magnificent Seven, Pink Panther, what a fabulous series that was.
Clouseau.
Yeah, The Manchurian Candidate. Anybody want to go there? The Producers.
That was with Frank Sinatra and Lawrence Harvey.
Yes, it
The
was.
original
Frank
one.
Sinatra, Angela Lansbury, Janet Leigh. Judgment at Nuremberg, Rosemary's Baby, that controversial thing about the exorcism, and The Dirty Dozen, The Hustler, Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason, True Grit. George C. Scott was in The Hustler as well. True Grit, John Wayne, Robert Duvall. Those were names that Robert Duvall, Dennis Hopper, Easy Rider, Bridget Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson making his kind of his coming out party in that movie.
And a football helmet.
Yeah. MASH, great movie. Robert Duvall, Donald Sutherland, and Elliot Gould. Bullet, 101 Dalmatians started in 1961, In the Heat of the Night. Very controversial Sidney Poitier, Rod Steiger movie. The Longest Day, Hard Day's Night, The Beatles. Those are just kind of a compendium of some of those movies, and I can assure you that there's so many classics in there that I'd love to challenge somebody to see if they can come up with the same kind of movie standards that we were exposed to in the 60s. But
well, and going back to Amanda's point, again, the generation she was referring to, I didn't really talk about religion and politics. I mean, one of the movies you mentioned there, Heat of the Night, was one of the movies that really started getting into racial issues.
Very controversial.
The 60s. Yeah, I mean, it was
became a very popular TV series.
Exactly.
Filmed right here in Georgia.
Yeah, but I mean, the gist of that was a black detective came down to help a white Southern sheriff, with a crime.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of tension on the black-white thing. And then another movie of the same era that was on that list as well was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, yeah, right.
Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
Who was the black boyfriend of a
white family with a white daughter.
Yeah, and the daughter was bringing him home to meet the parents.
Yeah.
So you talk about controversial in the 60s? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was our answer to Meet the Fockers.
Indeed.
Anyway, as we're getting ready to close it out here. What have you got something about Trump and pragmatism?
Kind of, touching on some of the stuff we talked about with North Korea, Iran, and just deep state and
kind of recap the earlier part of the show.
Yeah, this is from a commentator. I think he was also a minister. I think his first name is Michael, Michal, Massey. But this was an article he wrote online in January 2016. And just read two sections out of this. I said that neither does Trump view himself as a conservative. I state as my opinion that Trump is a pragmatist. He sees problems and understands it must be fixed. He then sets about fixing it. He doesn't see the problem as liberal or conservative. He sees it only as a problem. That is a quality that should be admired and applauded, not condemned. So people are quick to confuse and despise confidence as arrogance. But that is common amongst people who have never accomplished anything in their lives and have always played it safe, not willing to risk failure. So I think that goes back to some of the things we talked about today. Don Blankenship, getting smeared like that is what the Dems did with Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
I mean, classic.
Yeah.
Classic. So
read from the Senate floor.
Yeah. Some funny thing with taxes. Totally bogus.
Yeah.
So again, I think
the pragmatic stuff. To your point, in Newt Gingrich's book, Understanding Trump, he says the same thing. He doesn't look at it as a Democrat problem, Republican problem. It's just a problem.
Yeah, immigration. It's a country problem. It's a national
country problem.
Yeah.
It affects everybody.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Chinese stealing our know-how, our technological know-how.
Exactly.
It's a national problem.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with that, folks. I mean, I support the president. I think he's doing a great job. I think there's so many distractions, and for him to carry on and get the accomplishments that he has enjoyed. With all of these distractions, I think is an absolute, brilliance on his part.
Yeah. He just keeps plowing ahead, irregardless.
Yeah. Bruce and I really enjoyed coming to see you guys. We love coming down here and seeing the folks in here. Just kind of recap, Brian is out with Casey Cagle today doing an 8-stop tour. We've got Jason, Beck, and Amanda. They will team up today to come to Blue Ridge to cover the governor's budget signing, brought to you by David Ralston, Speaker of the House, Blue Ridge's own David Ralston, and joining them will be the president of the University of North Georgia, who will make a major announcement of a brick and mortar campus coming, Benita Jacobs. We got Lonnie tonight, I think, is at Gilmer Candidate Forum at the Piedmont Community Center. He'll be there at 6 o'clock covering that for Fetcher News. Tomorrow night in Blue Ridge at the
Blue Ridge Theater.
At the Blue Ridge Community Theater across the street from the drive-in. 5:30 we're going to cover the candidates, the Post 2 Commissioner candidates and the school board candidates. So, well, again, we are Bruce and Rick. Bruce, it was fun this morning.
Indeed.
Time goes fast when we're having fun, and we do have fun when we come down here.
Indeed, and supported by the production, Amanda, Sam, Lonnie.
Yep, and we will see you guys, God willing, on Friday down at Circuit World with the All-Star panel. Amanda will be at the helm again, and we will get through this.
Last show till I hit the road trip.
Yeah, Bruce is going to be, I didn't mention that, Bruce and his wife are going to go visit some friends and family, take an extended road trip, which I know Bruce has been wanting to do for some time. Mm-hmm. Just hit the pavement and head west and see what they can see, visit some friends, some wineries, and just
some wineries and some
wineries. Just kind of lay back. I can't wait for my parting gifts when they come home. Anyway, Amanda, thank you for all you do. We had a good time this morning, and if you'll take us to break, we will give some time to our valued sponsors.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Here's to 60 years of Pizza Hut, to original pan, to stuffed crust, and to the best of both. The new double cheesy crust pan pizza with stuffed crust cheese baked just inside the golden edge of original pan. Here for a limited time. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
The Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's T-E-A-S. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
Better days ahead.
Yellow pollen means green cash at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. The spring savings event is on at Days, and the discounts are deep. Now save up to $11,000 off select new 2018 Chevy Silverados, or up to $6,000 off select new 2018 Equinox. Pick any Chevy you want and save a bunch during the spring savings event going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.